again everybody, so I am back here again today for some more maths learning, and we're going to be continuing our learning around equal parts. Can you remember what it means if something is an equal part? So an equal part is when both parts are exactly the same. If something is equal, it means the same or the same as. So to start with, I'd like you to have a look at these pictures that you can see on the screen, and I'd like you to think about how many equal parts are there in each picture. So have a look at each picture. You might want to pause the video. How many equal parts can you see that each one has? Okay, so hopefully you have noticed that each picture or group of objects have been split into two equal parts. We can see the teddy has got two equal parts. There's one part here and one part here. Two equal parts, one part, two parts, one part and two parts, and each shape has also been split into two equal parts. Now today we're going to be thinking of a mathematical word to describe these pictures. So if there are two parts, how would I describe it, especially if I looked at the star or the circle or the teddy? What would it mean if I split it into two parts? Can you think of a mathematical word that we might use to describe this? See if you can have a think. So hopefully some of you have thought of this word here, and this word says half. So we're going to be thinking about halves. So all of these pictures that we can see here have been split into two equal parts. They have been split in half, and we're going to be looking at what this word half means in more detail. We're going to look at it in fractions. So I'm just going to uncover this square here, and I've got a funny line here. Has anybody got any ideas how we might write this as a fraction if it's showing half? Now some of you might not be sure because you might not have seen this before, and that's okay. So if we're going to write a half as a fraction, we put 2 on the bottom, because if something is in half, it means it's got two equal parts, and then we put a 1 on the top. And the reason that we write half like this is because the bottom number, like I explained, this shows how many parts there are in total. So in all of those pictures that we looked at, they each have 2 parts, and that is why we put 2 at the bottom of our fraction. And then at the top we put the number 1, because this shows how many parts we have. So if we go back to this picture, there's 2 equal parts, and 1/2 is shaded in. 1/2 of the star is shaded in. 1/2 of the circle is shaded in. 1/2 of the cookies are circled, and that is why we put a 1 on the top, because it shows how many parts we have, and the bottom number shows us how many parts we have all together. And this is called a fraction. Can you have a go at saying the word fraction? So we're looking at fractions, and today we're looking at half, if we write it in words, and then this is how we would represent it as a fraction. So a half in words is exactly the same as this fraction here, a half. So we're going to be looking more at what a half is. So this time I've got a picture of a lolly, and it says the whole lolly has been split into something equal parts. How many equal parts can you see that the lolly has been split into? Let's count together. 1, 2. The lolly has been split into 2 equal parts. Each part is worth a half. That's how we would write it in words. And then this is the same as 1/2. I'm just going to use a slightly different pen. Here we go. 1/2. So we have 1 on the top because this is part of the lolly that we've got, 1 part of the lolly, and all together we've got 2 equal parts. Let's have a look at this picture. This time we've got a sandwich. The whole sandwich, so this is the whole sandwich all together, has been split into how many equal parts? How many equal parts can we see? 1, 2. So the whole sandwich has been split into 2 equal parts. Each part is worth a half. This is the same as, can we remember how to write this fraction? See if you could have a go at writing it in the air as I'm writing it on the screen. 1 half. And we write that like this. Okay, this time I've got a set of some different pictures. Now some of them are representing a half and some of them aren't. Can you pause the video and find which pictures are a half and which pictures aren't? And your challenge is to see if you can explain how you know. Off you go. Okay, let's have a look at these pictures. Remember, if something is a half, it must have 2 equal parts. So a half is only if the parts are equal. So if we start with the square, I can see it's in 2 parts, but this doesn't mean that it's half because my parts are not equal. So the square is not representing a half because the 2 parts are different sizes. They're not the same. They're not equal. Let's move on to this one. Again, I can see that there are 2 parts, but they're not equal. So this does not represent a half. However, this time, I can see these 2 parts are the same. They're exactly the same size. So this is representing a half. Let's look at the gummy bears. I've got 1 gummy bear circled and then 2 gummy bears here. So they are not representing half because they are not split equally. This time I can see 2 parts and they're the same. So this is representing a half. The triangle is split in half because there are 2 equal parts. Let's have a look at the picture of the eggs. Do you think this is representing a half? I wonder why you think this. I can see 4 eggs along the top in the first part and 4 eggs in the second part. So there's the same number of eggs in both parts, so they are equal. This represents a half. Okay, this time it says, is this correct? So they have already filled in the stem sentence for us. The whole pizza has been split into 2 equal parts. Each part is worth a half. This is the same as 1 half. Do you agree? Is this correct? Does the picture represent a half? Is it showing 2 equal parts? Pause the video and see if you can use this stem sentence below. So they are correct or they are incorrect because. So hopefully you have noticed that they are incorrect, and they are incorrect because the pizza has not been split into 2 equal parts. So it does not represent a half because this part is much larger than this part. They're not equal, so it does not represent a half. This time we've got a picture of a cupcake. Half or not half? What do you think? Has the cupcake been cut in half? Why or why not? See if you can pause the video and explain your answer. Again, hopefully you've noticed then that this is not half because the parts are not the same. Although there are 2 parts, they're not the same. The bottom part of the cupcake is much larger than the top part. So this is not representing a half. Moving on to the last slide then, I have got some different pictures. And Matt says, here's Matt, that 2 of these pictures represent 1 half. Do you agree with Matt that 2 out of 4 of these pictures are representing a half? See if you can pause the video and have a go. So on the screen you should see that I have circled the picture which I think represents a half. So I can see that the triangle does not represent half because it's not split into 2 equal parts. The balloon also isn't split into 2 equal parts. The teddy bear is split into 2 equal parts, and the circle is not. So only one of these pictures represents a half. So Matt is not correct because only one picture represents half. So your activity today is all around half. So your activity here is an activity for you to complete around all of the different parts of the input today. So the first part is filling in the stem sentences to match the 2 pictures. Then underneath these pictures you need to say half or not half. And then here you need to explain how you know if they're showing half or not half. So that's your first activity. And then you have got 2 challenges to complete today. So challenge 1 is here. It says true or false. So you need to explain if these following objects are divided in half and how you know. Then who is correct out of these 2 people? So remember, you need to read the question really carefully before you have a go at answering. And then which is the odd one out and how do you know? And then your second challenge is here. So Jack thinks he has split this shape in half. Is he correct? You need to explain your thinking. And then Sasha says that she has split these objects in half. Is she correct? So you have got an activity and then 2 challenges to complete today. And like yesterday, we look forward to seeing some of your great learning. And I will be back tomorrow for some more videos. Have a lovely day. Bye.